The ocean waves lap gently against the rocks beneath Samos' hut. You hear the muffled clinking of the sculptor hard at work. The smell of yucca manure drifting towards you, borne on the gentle seaside breeze. You are back home. You are back in Sandover Village. Sandover Village is the home of our heroic duo. We do not know if it was an established settlement when young Jack and Samos arrived in the past, or if it was built afterwards. Perhaps Samos played a direct role in the construction of Sandover Village, having come from a nightmare future fraught with danger, and knowing what destiny lay ahead of the tiny, green-haired boy in his care. Perhaps he was fueled by a fatherly sense of protectiveness for the boy, and also pity, for the boy had never known a true home. Only survival, fleeing in hardship, with his father banished to the desert wastelands where he could not protect the boy. Whereas Jack's feet once knew only the feel of rain-slicked concrete, they would now know the warm sands and cool lapping waves. He would finally know a home. Samos had demonstrated great leadership capabilities in his defense of the Haven City sector that would become known as Deadtown. Due to his leadership and his mastery of green eco, it is likely that the inhabitants of the island would see Samos as a spiritual leader. Over time, as wanderers of the island flocked to this peninsula, the village would gradually be built. Defensible, with a clear view of all avenues of access in case of attacks from lurkers or other dangerous wildlife, but for the most part removed from the greater dangers present in the north. The tropical waters surrounding the village were abundant with fish life, providing a steady supply of food for the village. Assuming, of course, that the fisherman survived any encounters he had with lurker sharks. The fish and vegetation of the nearby jungle could serve to provide a more exotic variety of cuisine, assuming one could brave its treacherous canopies and avoid the less palatable varieties of river life therein. Supplemented by the farmers' crops of what appears to be rice, as well as yucca, milk and any fruits or vegetables that Samos could possibly grow with a supply of green eco, it seemed the village had all the nutrition a growing hero could need. One villager, known as the Explorer, refers to himself as Jack's uncle. It is a possibility that when young Samos and Jack landed in the past, that they ended up on a different part of the island than the location of Sandover Village. Looking at the Explorer, we can see he possesses a sort of green crystal embedded in his cane, a very uncommon possession in the game. Could it be that the Explorer personally helped Samos to seek out the building location of Sandover Village? The green crystal could be a gift from Samos, a small eco-crystal to gently supplement the explorer's life, to keep him hale and healthy so that he can continue to explore for years to come. One prominent feature of the village is its proximity to a precursor oracle embedded in a seaside cliff. These mysterious devices serve two purposes in-game: to dispense power cells upon sufficient provision of orbs, and to speak cryptically of plot elements that may or may not have been planned well in advance. For the latter, it's hard to say if the voice we are hearing is the voice of the true living precursors that we see in Jak 3, or if oracles had a sort of artificial intelligence that had the capacity to give voice to original thoughts based on who was interacting with it. Listening to the prophetic lines of dialogue they speak in the Precursor Legacy, and the bellicose, heated dialogue of the Oracle in Jak 2, both possibilities are equally likely. They could be speaking to Jack and Daxter, coaxing them along with hints of the future, and the unacknowledged blessing that Daxter received upon falling into the vat of dark eco. As for the former, we can guess that due to its proximity to the nearby orb storage device, that the Oracle was simply a storage unit for power cells that could be provided to precursors during construction for a modest fee. Seeing how they are buried within rock, we cannot say how deep they go, If indeed their purpose was to dispense power cells, then it is conceivable that they had an underground storage space for both orbs and power cells. Likely still is that they had a sort of pneumatic tube transport system extending beneath the Earth, not unlike the systems in use in the Lost Precursor City further up the coast, albeit more refined and large scale. In Sandover Village's case, perhaps these power cells were transported to, or from, the nearby Forbidden Temple, freshly charged with energy from the Blue Eco reactor within. Two other technological innovations aided the citizens of Sandover Village in their day-to-day. The TransPad, and the mechanism that utilises a beam of Blue Eco as a source of energy. Samos' hut is seemingly built upon this TransPad, and it's easy to imagine why. TransPads could transport large objects, as seen by its teleporting of both the Agrav Zoomer and also the Flufflot. By connecting to other TransPads on the island, it would prove invaluable in the trade and transport of items and materials with other villagers, as well as precursor tools or artifacts that Samos could wish to move, in conjunction with the other sages. It is possible that this TransPad was located here out of convenience in eons past. One can imagine a precursor having some sort of skimmer or boat ready for easy transport to the nearby islands. Other TransPads could have been linked to it from these islands, but they may have been long buried beneath them now, save for the one on Misty Island. The mechanism that uses Blue Eco to power the village may very well have been developed for implementation in Sandover Village by the Sage of Blue Eco. There is little doubt that his ingenuity, mechanical genius, and mastery of Blue Eco allowed him to tap into the power systems of the Precursor Temple, and utilise it for the good of Sandover Village. One can imagine Samos sitting in his tower, watching over Sandover Village and idly meditating as the sun set on another day. He would watch young Jack, Daxter and Kira playing together, and think of the trials they would all face in the years to come. From the island stretching to the horizon before him, and from beyond time and space. But for now at least, they were safe and happy in the warm sunset of Sandover Village.